It's 94.7 Blair Radio, our nonprofit news brought to us by RVR Bank. Again, want to say thank you to them being fantastic partners and sponsors, bringing the information right to you, whether it's through the radio, through our social media, through our YouTube channel. So again, today we have the director of the Gateway Development Corporation, Michael Rooks, joining us. Thank you for coming in. I've been kind of after you for a while, but things have settled down. And we're getting into a phase where I kind of would like to have you come in a little bit more often to talk about what's happening, what's the developments, what can you talk about. And I know there are things you can't talk about, but we want to be able to make sure people are aware in every way possible of what is happening and what they can know about. So, but first, what is Gateway Development Corporation?
First of all, thank you for having me. And yes, I am more than happy to come in on a quarterly, monthly, whatever kind of basis we want to work on, Kelly.
Yeah.
I want to get knowledge out there for everyone that's curious on Gateway Development. And what is Gateway Development? So first of all, we are a public-private partnership. We are a nonprofit. We are a 501c3. Our main goal is to help businesses, first of all, help local businesses expand that are in Washington County, and then also recruit new businesses to Washington County to, as I like to say, expand the tax base, and just to help Washington County prosper more. I mean, those are the biggest things. And as far as public-private go, we have roughly 65 or 66 investors right now, private investors from Washington County and from the Omaha MSA. And then we also have Washington County, the city of Blair, and the city of Fort Calhoun are also investors, which is more of the public side of things. And we help them with different projects. LB 840, we help administer that. There's a lot of things that we can do. But our main goal, like I said, is to increase that tax base and to bring that quality of life and just to make sure, Blair and Washington County, Fort Calhoun, Arlington, Kennard, Herman, they're successful in what they want to do. And each one of those communities have different ideas of what success looks like. Right. So it's not one size fits all. So we try to help all of them in whatever way they want.
Well, it's almost like you are, if I get this correctly, kind of the negotiator between the community and potentially like a business who wants to come in to be able to see how it all works out, where to go, what works and what fits.
Definitely. I mean, the term I sometimes like to use, I like to help smooth out the speed bumps. So, from getting from point A to point C, I will help you smooth out B. Sorry about hitting the mic there.
That's okay.
And it's when I say smooth out, just I know the operations. I can tell them what they need to do. One thing the city of Blair always says is early and often. They want to know upfront exactly what's going on. So if there are tweaks we have to do, it's not clear at the end at city council where then something gets tabled and has to be pushed back. We'd rather do all that up front, get all the tweaks worked out, and go forward with those things. It's the permitting. It's making sure those are they understand what the permitting process is. They, sometimes they don't understand how to use the GIS or anything like that. So I can just help them. I can show them different stats we have. We use Placer AI. We have housing studies. We can get different stats from the county, from our partners, the Omaha Chamber. But we just want to make sure they have all the ammunition, the businesses have all the stuff they need to confirm that Washington County is where they want to go.
All right. Well, let's jump in phase one, and you're talking about existing businesses that are here, helping them to be able to grow and expand if they choose to. What's that process like, and how do people get involved in that?
It's really hard to get involved in that, Kelly. It's it's giving me a call or stopping in the chamber. That's where my office is, Washington County Chamber. And if I'm not there, Cheryl can set up an appointment and we can get going on that. But a couple that we have helped expand would be some of the larger ones, Corbion on the Cargill campus. We helped them go after some state funding. Local, We have worked with Prairie Star Botanicals. We have worked with Ace Hardware several times.
Right.
KB Meats. So there's quite a few different businesses that we have helped, but it's give me a call, let's talk, and let me see what I can find and how we can help. And when I mean help, it might not be funding, but it could be. There could be some grant dollars or there could be some state aid out there, but maybe it's just, hey, how do I go about acquiring a new piece of property? Or I don't know if I'm zoned right. What is a CUP? What is an overlay district? The city told me this, but I'm not quite sure what that is. Can you help me, guide me on that? Or even the smaller business, hey, can you help me with a business plan? And that's something where I can help with, but I always like to refer people down to UNO, the Small Business Association, because that's their main job.
Right.
But then I still work hand in hand with them with with the local pieces, so they make sure that business plan flows here in Washington County.
All right. So really also helping guide people to resources.
Yes.
That is a part of it.
Yeah.
And so with when you do find a business that's looking to or come in or expand, do you do all the studies to see, okay, this is the need, this fits?
I would say that's a gray area, yes and no. So we do studies. We do traffic studies. We do housing studies. That's been a hot topic lately, and I know we'll probably get into that a little bit later. But I would say something I learned, and it sounds kind of fun, but from Rod Storm, is the smell test. We don't go after every single business that's looking to expand or looking to come in. We want to make sure it is a proper fit for Washington County or for Fort Calhoun or for Blair. We're not going to bring in something that they do not want. We don't want it. Sorry, they probably don't want a kill facility,
Right.
or they don't want a tire manufacturer. There's already enough smells throughout Washington County. The big thing I always I love to focus on is agriculture. Blair and Washington County have always been an ag county and community. There's over 90,000 acres of corn. We're always going to be that. Now, what do we do with that? You have the bio campus here. You have calcium products that we just helped bring in. There's all sorts of businesses and ancillary businesses that go along with ag that I think fit really good. Now, do we want to diversify a little bit? Maybe something catastrophic happens? Yeah, we want to. And that's something that when we helped Dollar General come in, we talked about that. But that's a logistics hub, another major employer. And why wouldn't we want another major employer that doesn't cannibalize against the biocampus?
Right.
You want that. And that's how we bring people in. So there's a lot of things you look at, but it's not, oh, Mike thinks this, and this. Well, great. It's my board of directors. I bring all the businesses, the projects. They might not know the names, but we will tell them, hey, this is what it's about. What do you guys think? And then whatever community they're looking at, we'll go to that community and talk to them a little bit.
So quick question, how many are on the board of directors?
On my board of directors, there are voting members, there are 18. Ex officios, when you include those, we are at 22.
Right, and they're all members of the community.
They are all members of Gateway Development. I would not say they're all members of community.
Okay.
So we have several engineering firms that are on our board.
Okay.
But a lot of community members are on there.
Yeah, but their benefit or their look is to benefit the communities.
Of course.
Of course.
That's why they all want to make sure Washington County is successful, and that's why they want to help guide that.
Okay. Now, most people don't realize that Washington County is a part of the metro.
It's a shocker, isn't it?
Most people don't realize that. I realized that a long time ago because I'm in radio, and that statistics all push into that
Metropolitan Statistical Area, the MSA. Right. So yes, when you look at numbers and population, Washington County and Blair, Fort Calhoun, Arlington, those are all included in the Omaha MSA. So when someone says, well, Omaha is over 1 million people, Omaha MSA is over 1 million. Not Omaha. Omaha proper is probably what, and I could be wrong with this, 500, 600,000.
Somewhere in that range.
But you're adding Plattsmouth, you're adding all of Sarpy County, you're adding Washington County. That's how you get to that number. The other piece, kind of going off topic of the MSA, but Omaha is always expanding, and if we like it or not, one of the next phases is moving north. Look at what's happening on 133 right now. Yeah. One of the key things that I think that I can play, I want to help play, is how do we guide that growth? If we don't guide it and just we stand back and say, no, we don't want it, it's coming anyway. So let's help guide that and teach people what we want and try to get those things in, so something we don't want doesn't just show up.
Well, I was just kind of looking at it there was a point in time where small communities, 70s, 80s, even in the 90s, were shut down, isolate. We don't want to grow. We want to keep our little hamlet exactly the way it was when we were kids type scenario.
Right.
Now, not saying that that's a bad thing, because we want to have a safe place. We want to have that Andy Griffith feel to it. But if we don't have somebody looking out for the best interest, then it comes time to say, well, we need more taxes. We need to start paying for all this infrastructure. Then your ability to choose gets limited. You all of a sudden have to take anything instead of being able to choose.
That's definitely true. I use a lot of different strange sayings. I'm sorry, but if you're not growing, you're dying. The population we all age. We're all getting older. I don't want to look at this gray hair. It's terrible. But sooner or later, people are aging out of the workforce. If we're not recruiting new people into that workforce, these businesses will start leaving, and we'll lose taxes. And then the only way to keep our amenities that everyone wants is to raise taxes. Yeah. And no one wants that.
Right.
And another positive thing about Washington County and, Blair and Fort Calhoun, there's some of the lowest taxes in the Omaha MSA, and no one gets that. I used to live in Sarpy County, and crazy taxes down there. I mean, their school system, they're building a new school every day.
Right.
Every year, sorry. Yeah. But the taxes are great up here. But to keep them low, we have to keep recruiting new residents and new businesses up here. Those are big things. Unfortunately, that sales tax initiative that we tried to go after last year, which Gateway was in full support of, would have helped that, because we have a lot of people that drive into the community in Blair. Why don't we have them help pay taxes?
Right.
And because sales tax isn't just locals. Yeah. Property tax is local.
Right.
But when we have over 30,000 people, as far as the retail trade area, people come in to shop in Blair, let's have them help, maybe do an overpass over Highway 75, or, the bypass, those pieces. Sales tax is a key thing. And it wasn't a lot. It was another 0.5 cent. And when you do that ratio, and I'm just thinking of this, I believe it was roughly, $4 on $100,
yeah,
or something very small, which you don't see. Right. But that extra money could have been used to upgrade the pool. Could have been used for many things. Maybe part of the amphitheater, part of the upgrading the library. We have all those are great things in Blair. Don't get me wrong, but that additional sales tax, it taxes people that actually use Blair, that come into Blair. It's not just the residents.
Right, but the benefit goes in
but the benefit comes just to the residents.
Yeah. So it's like, oftentimes we hear it's like big companies like Walmart, but that is one of the biggest tax revenues for the community.
Yeah, and a large employer.
Yeah.
People don't always think about that.
Right.
They're not 24 hours anymore. Sorry.
Not anymore.
But still, they have, I believe they have 180 employees.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So now talk about bypass and things like that. I see your name all over the place. So, for example, a big sign saying land available.
Yes.
And so that is something that Gateway Development also does.
So yes, and that's something that sometimes it's confusing. We are not a broker, not a real estate agent. Used to be way back early, 2005, 2009. But what we do is we help local landowners sell their land. And what I mean by that is we can option that land, and then once we have that under control, we can then submit that to larger RFPs, requests for proposals, for big projects. But the only way you can typically request or get in front of some of those bigger businesses, you have to have the land under control. If you don't have the land under control, it's just available to the open market. Great, but economic development, it's a process. It's not an event. The Dollar General, that behind the scenes, before that was announced, that was over probably 13, 14 months.
Yeah.
So we had to have that under control. So they're spending all this money behind the scenes, getting engineering, getting designs, getting everything done. If it's not under control, someone else could take that out from underneath them.
Right.
And now they're out
all that money.
Yeah. And that's just not Dollar General. That's even some smaller projects in town.
That's anybody that is putting a project together.
Yeah.
They want to know that they are going to be able to spend the money and not have it all of a sudden just gone.
Yeah, and that's the due diligence period. And I love working with brokers and agents, don't get me wrong, but sometimes those bigger companies, they just like, hey, we need this for a year because either we need to get power, we need to figure out how to get power there, or water or sewer, or we just need to we need to go through the state regulatory process. That takes time. It's not just we bought the property, we can build. Well, you can grade. That's easy. You just get a SWIFT permit, but you can't just put whatever there. You have to go through all the process. And that's why having pieces of property under control, it's very important. And Roger Andreessen, he's the one that owns that property off the bypass right now. Mm-hmm. He's great. Him and Donna are great to work with. I talk to them probably once a month or so. We've had a lot of tire kickers, and now with the project that's going on top of the hill behind Walmart, that residential, the 140 single family homes, I think his is probably the next to go.
Yeah.
No guarantees, but that's my hope.
Well, but that goes into the next thing that I wanted to talk about is you're looking not only at the properties that are available or what could fit those properties, but you also have to put the pieces together for the business to saying there is residence here for people to live here.
Yes. And that's something my first 3 to 4 years in this job, I didn't have to think about. It was the economy was different at that time. We don't have to get into politics, but the economy was different.
Right.
Now, your employers are really asking. Well, I had one, and I've said this in city council and everywhere else. We love your site. We love everything about it. We like Blair, but tell me where my 500 employees are going to live.
Right.
And I just go, Omaha.
Yeah.
It's not always the best answer, especially for quality of life for those employees. If they're making $20 an hour and they're commuting from Omaha every day, today's gas prices are over $4.25, $5. You're taking a big chunk of that paycheck. And that's not good. Right. And you just can't find affordable housing. Attainable housing. You can't find attainable housing in Washington County for that many people. So when we have Blair Crossing going in, 132 apartments, fantastic. We have other projects looking. We need that whole life cycle for a person to live in, I say it a lot, but you have a retiree who lives in a 4-bedroom home by themselves. They love Blair. They want to stay here, but they want to downsize. There's nowhere for them to go.
Right.
Maybe they want to go to an apartment. Just because someone doesn't like the apartment doesn't mean the next person does or doesn't fit in their lifestyle. Yeah. I had a question, would you live in those apartments, Mike? And I had to say, no. I've got 2 Great Danes.
Right.
Great Danes are...
They're amazing apartment dogs, really.
Oh, they're lap dogs.
Yeah, but
that's
good size.
That 150-pound dog in a small apartment. 2 That's a lot of gas, first of all,
Yep.
and a lot of fur. So for me, everyone has a different backstory. It wouldn't work, but you just don't know. Just because you don't want an apartment doesn't mean someone else doesn't want that apartment.
Or that is where they need to be at this time.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can afford. We talk about affordable housing. That is, I don't know that affordable housing is really
non-existent.
It doesn't exist anymore. Your average starter home is in the almost $300,000 range.
325.
325. Okay, for a starter home, that is way different than it was before. So this next working force, this next generation coming in, apartment life is going to be a lot more probable than
It is.
ever before.
And when you think about it, it's not like they're going to live in that apartment for 20 years. It's a transition piece. It's getting them into the community, getting them into the workforce, and now all of a sudden they're here. They're going to start going to church. Mm-hmm. They're going to start getting involved in local organizations. Heck, they might get married here then.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we want to have a family. We need to move out of that apartment to a single family home.
Right.
But that's the transition that people are like, no, we don't want. Well, you do. That's part of that life cycle. And then you're in the single family home. You expand to another home, and then the kids graduate and go off. Well, now we have this huge house. We can't afford it. Let's move back down. And so it's a circle.
It is. But it also makes that available for the next generation to move up and then move back.
Yeah. And there's different types of houses out there that we haven't even talked about or Blair hasn't looked at before. It's not just apartments. There could be duplexes. There could be quads. Yeah, they're condos. Tiny homes, another hot topic, which I shouldn't even bring up, but like trailer parks, mobile homes. Mm-hmm. Those are all types, and even senior living. So, and when I say senior living, 55 plus homes, zero entry. They don't have to mow the lawn or do the snow anymore. That's something they might want. There's not a lot of those out there. I'm not saying there aren't any, but there's not enough. You can talk to any landlord in town, and when when their housing unit comes up for rent, they probably have 10 to 15 applications instantly. Yeah. That's just how it is. And I hate to talk about social media, but someone put on there, hey, we're looking for an apartment. I kind of read through a quick snippet of those. There's people like, hey, we've lived in Harlan for the last 3 years. We're trying to get back to Blair, and there's nothing. Yeah. That one stuck out to me. I'm like, wow, they're driving from Harlan. Yeah. That's a drive.
That's a drive.
Yeah.
And so, that brings back it's actually also brings in the double-edged sword. We want to bring in businesses, but businesses need to have places for the employees to live. But without the businesses, developers don't want to build to be able to house that. So if you have apartments that people can move up from, then you might have more developers willing to build houses.
Yeah. That, and then also a lot of people think I just work retail. I mean, I've had that a lot. Or why don't you bring in an Applebee's or an IHOP? They say like, great. You realize that you have to have over 100,000 residents within a 3-mile radius for some of these pieces.
Right.
So what does that mean? We need more rooftops.
Right.
And rooftops are housing units. So we need those apartments. We need some of those things. And I'm not saying we're going to get the Applebee's or IHOPs because we're not even close to that. But there are other retail establishments that want to move into Blair, but they want to see growth. And their growth is we want to see more rooftops.
Right.
So with Blair Crossings coming in, with a potential for the riser apartments coming in, you can see that growth happening. Another pain point that Washington County has is daycare right now. Yeah. Little Blossoms is great, but Little Blossoms is one group, and we could definitely use more. We could use more in Arlington. We could use more definitely in Fort Calhoun. And they just the Washington County just received $30,000 for that to help recruit more daycares. So, that's part of economic development too. It's housing, it's daycare. I need a place for my employees to live. Those employees need a place for a place for their kids to go when they're not there. And then they need the restaurants to go to. We helped bring in Tasty Pizza, Black Label.
Black Label. Yeah.
The Social House. It's still coming in.
Lighthouse.
Yeah. I mean, all those. Yeah. We've helped all those in one way, shape, or form, either by saying, hey, these are available properties. Those are all big things that Gateway can help with. It's just odd. Yes, we have our fingers in many different things, and it's just we want to see the community prosper. Right. Not just grow, but we want to. The quality of life is what we're always. It's what it's always about.
And it goes back to that's because the board of directors wants to see that as well. Yeah. The whole purpose is to keep that, and that's why you stay as a nonprofit organization. Right.
Yeah. It's funny, Hey, what are you getting out of this? I'm getting the feel good that I'm helping build this. I grew up in a small town in Iowa, Eldora, Iowa. Give or take, it was 4,000 to 5,000 people way back when. Now it's 2,000. Yeah. Downtown has 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 empty buildings. Yeah. I don't want to see that. I don't. Blair, I keep focusing on Blair and Fort Calhoun because that's where the infrastructure is. That's where you can grow. But both these communities have had a really good business push for the last 20 years. You've got the schools in Fort Calhoun. You got DW Fine Pack. You got Surplus Supply. You have the Cargill campus up here. So they've got really good business. So they're generating some taxes. Great. But still, we need to get that housing piece going, and then all of a sudden, who knows? There could be a Subway in Fort Calhoun. There could be other things that pop up that just amenities that people like.
Right.
Some people just want to stay in Blair. We don't want to go to Omaha. Okay, great. But our studies show that, after going to Walmart on a Saturday, a lot of people go down to Village Point. Right. And they shop at Shields. So there's data that we have that we can show retailers that, hey, if you had something closer,
you'll bring these people right to it. Yeah.
So, but that's what Gateway does. I mean, we're here just to help businesses succeed and grow the tax base and make sure there is a quality of life that everyone wants.
And it is its own entity to be able to do that.
We are not part of the chamber. We are not part of the city. We work hand in hand with them. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do manage the Washington County Chamber. Right. We are a partner with the Omaha Chamber, and we work hand in hand with Fort Calhoun, Arlington, Blair, and the county. But we are our own entity.
Yes. So then that way, again, with the business people that are involved, as they can actually say, yes, this is a good idea for the community, or wait, this goes back to the sniff test.
It is. And honestly, with that, with us working with these businesses, we can sign NDAs, and it's not public. Right. They can't come into City Hall and say, I need to know this information. Well, the Gateway's working on it. It's right. Not through us at all. Yeah. So it keeps under wraps until it should be out there.
Yeah. So it goes back to the probably wrap up right now is that open door policy, right?
Yeah.
There are obviously things you cannot say. Right. Because there are, businesses that in their own process, they don't want either competitors or they don't want other things to know exactly what's going on behind the scenes until they're able to. But that's where you guys, we need to be able to put the trust into you guys to make sure that everything stays in the line of what is reasonable for the community.
Right. And that's where it comes back. We have over 20 companies, 20 projects, I would say, in our pipeline. We talk to the communities. We make sure that we want to, and we keep following those. I mean, keep flowing with them. But they don't just happen like that. I've had a project. I'm going to say 4D. They've been in my pipeline for a year and a half, and they just keep kicking the can down the road. No, we're still interested, but with the tariffs or with this, we have to pull back a little bit. But Mike, we're still interested. So it just takes some time. But that's what we do. And I guess, yes, open door policy. If people have questions, anyone can stop in. I just had someone ask for the housing report that I quote quite a bit from 2021. I sent that out this morning already to someone because they were interested in that. We are going to be doing a new housing study, so hopefully that will have updated numbers and show what the 2021 showed as well, or we're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So,
all right. And
yes.
So the best way to be able to learn more, other than stopping in, they can go to your website, right? Or is that through?
I would say the best way right now
is just go straight
just
to you.
Come to me. Knock on the door. Come on into the chamber. Set an appointment up with Cheryl. Yes, we do have Gateway Development, NE.com, but we're working on that. Work in progress. Remember, it's myself and Cheryl, and then Nikki. So you count both the chamber and Gateway. We're 2.5 people. Yeah. So it takes a while to get some of those websites up and running. We have some stuff on there. But it's work in progress.
All right. So, but you can stop in any time, set up an appointment, and be able to learn more.
Yeah, of course.
So again, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Kelly.
And we'll get into some more hard-hitting stuff as we go. But I wanted to just kind of give you the opportunity just to explain and talk about what's going on, and then next time I'll ask all the questions about things that you can't talk about.
Fantastic. I appreciate that, Kelly. Again, thank you for having me in.